Hey, it's Jordan with Status Coup News. If you haven't noticed, Starbucks lately has been mainly brewing hot, steaming cups of union busting, firing workers who are very active in unionization efforts after Buffalo, New York became the first successful unionized Starbucks in America. This week, they fired 19-year-old Leila Dalton, who's been with Starbucks for 3 years, has been nothing but loyal and hardworking. The harassment from managers against Layla became so bad, she started recording conversations with managers. In one of those conversations she recorded, a manager said she's under investigation because Layla, a black woman, has been saying things are racist that aren't racist. It made no sense and was clearly a way of investigating and then firing her. Well, today, workers showed up chanting, reinstate Layla.
Reinstate! Leila! 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 Reinstate! Leila!
Hey, it's Jordan. Delighted to be joined by Leila Dalton. You are a Starbucks worker who was wrongly fired, retaliated against for union organizing. There's some videos that you recorded that are pretty horrible, which we'll show. But I wanted to first start, just take us through how long did you work at Starbucks? Was it decent before the union busting? And how did things escalate into you being fired?
So Starbucks, I started Starbucks literally right after I turned 17. And this is my first job ever. And it's been almost 3 years. So it's gone by really fast. But obviously, this being my first job, I learned a lot of new things and learned how, to communicate with people, but also certain responsibilities. And let's say that when I first came in, I had a manager that did not care about our store, and it was pretty obvious, and no guidelines were followed. So no one took the job seriously. And it got to the point where this store, that manager went on a trash run and she never came back. And
Mm.
I mean, I remember that day I worked like a 10-hour shift and I was a minor. So there were many times I was overworked where I was like they forgot to give me my lunch, and I just it felt like I was really unsupported. And I mean, my first shift ever, I was thrown on drive-through, and they showed me one order. Someone took one order, and then the person's like, "Okay, your turn." And I mean, I don't know coffee. I don't drink coffee. I don't know what a latte is, cappuccino, like everything in Starbucks was new to me. And I basically had to teach myself stuff, and it took way longer, obviously, but I would mess up on drinks or I'd mess up on orders, and people would get mad, and it wasn't my fault. So I know that once I moved to a new store and I was brought to Scottsdale and Mayo store just to train people, it was a brand new, like, start over. Like, my old store had gone through, like, I mean, since now it's gone through 4 or 5 managers from when I started, but now like I was brought to Scottsdale and Mayo because I had some stuff go on at that store, and I was really tired of getting taken advantage of, especially as a minor. And I really stepped up my game when we got the new manager, because that manager was taking things more seriously, because people would call out. And when you have a manager that doesn't care and goes in the trash and never comes back, you can like tell that type of environment. People won't take things that seriously. So when I left that store and went to Scottsdale and Mayo, and we had an amazing manager, we had an amazing team. We still do have an amazing team, but it was good until when I became a supervisor, and it was right after I got out of the hospital. Around that time is when my manager went to my old store to fix up, because that store is still a mess from when I left. And then my new manager got fast tracked hired, outside hire, by the way, just to be our manager. And you can tell in 2 to 3 weeks, the whole dynamic changed. And I mean, I felt very unsupported from the start of Starbucks, so it felt like deja vu. It felt like, wow, I'm about to go through this again. I finally left that store and now I'm at a great place that, I mean, obviously work is work, but you can come into work actually feeling supported, having a team and knowing that you're appreciated. And it's sad because you do have some good managers nowadays, but with the union, some managers are picking money over morals.
Right.
So when my manager came in and the new one and everything, the whole dynamic changed, I felt like it was deja vu. I stuck up for myself and I didn't want things to get escalated. So I talked to the district manager and I knew like what I wanted to communicate with so that things didn't get as bad as my old store. And I
And this got worse once you started getting involved with unionization efforts.
Yes, events, yeah, and I had already been, especially me, I had been standing up for my coworkers who were scared to also say stuff for months, for a while, and it wasn't until my coworker and my co-leader, Bill Whitmire, he got promoted to a supervisor, he got trained at a different store, and he saw things so differently. He realized that all a Starbucks is like stuff something's got to happen, like something's got to change, and he got basically thrown on basically how I did, but as a supervisor. Thankfully he had barista experience, but thrown on to the busiest store in the district and not trained at our store. But basically the point of me saying that is he came to me and he saw that I was standing up, I was trying to talk to everyone, and he started to stand up too, and it felt good because it's, what can I do when I stand up for everyone when no one is willing to go talk and they're too scared to talk out? There's only so much I could say to them if all they want is for people to come to them. Even though I'm a supervisor and I'm supposed to be there to support my baristas and communicate it to upper management, they didn't want that. They wanted them to come to the district manager or the manager directly.
Hmm.
And it's really hard to have that type of like motivation, bravery to go talk to managers and say like, you're I don't think you're doing your job exactly correctly. Obviously, I don't say it in that way, but after having like 4 meetings that I brought to their attention, I had it, and I tried to take another day off of work so that I could focus on my physical health and mental health, since after I got out of the hospital, when things took a turn, I literally wasn't able to focus on it. She wouldn't accept my time off request for weeks. So how was I supposed to even get fixed and like, go get MRIs? And on top of that, I needed the extra day off. So my other days I could focus on ASU since I'm a full-time student. And I would still get the enough hours, and my manager and district manager said that doesn't work with um, the Starbucks hours and the Starbucks work environment, and that I would have to demote myself.
Right.
And I just was like, so um, I'm being forced to put work over my education, my physical and mental health. So that's when Bill Whitmire and I were starting to talk a lot. And he was also trying to bring concerns, but he realized that it was just getting ignored. And when I went to my district manager, it feels like she's just a punching bag, and then she just wants to get rid of it. So she's there to make you feel heard, but she's not gonna really do anything. Because
Right.
I had been dealing with this since November and stuff still didn't change. So he I'm pretty sure it was January like 20th, 21st, one of those 2 days. And I can remember it like it was yesterday. He just said we're having a long, long conversation that night, like 4 hours. And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't want to quit, but I'm getting to the point that I can't put work first. This is not fair. And he said, well, Leila, do you know about some of the stuff going on in Buffalo? And I was like, I've heard some things, but I don't really know a lot about it because I didn't really know what a union was. I just know that there's Starbucks news in Buffalo. That's all I knew. So at that point, he was like, well, we can make a change. We could actually do something, but we got to put in our all.
Hmm.
And once he explained everything to me, that union, I was like, Yeah, 100%. That gave me hope. That gave me a reason to stay on and feel more motivated, because every day I felt like I was getting more and more drained. And then as soon as he told me this, all my hope came back up and I had so much motivation. And literally, I started handing out ballot cards on the 23rd. Yeah, 23rd, and it was a Saturday. And I remember, actually no, the 22nd, I'm sorry. 22nd. The reason why I remember that is because Sunday and Mondays I usually don't work at all. So Saturday, after I handed out the ballot cards, my next shift, which was on a Tuesday, I got pulled in. And that was on January 25th. And what are the odds that my next shift I just get pulled in, and after I had my supervisor meeting with everyone, and then they pull me in the back. They told my barista to not be in the back. Like, no one was allowed to be in the back. And they harassed me for an hour until I almost quit. And there were write-ups that went 6 months back, basically, and it made no sense. Like, I got one write-up for calling at texting them at 4:04 a.m. because I was going to the hospital and I didn't call, so it was an improper call out. And then there were things that were so long ago that I also brought to their attention, like a time that I was scheduled on the day I had off, and I wasn't able to go to that shift, and I literally brought that to my district manager's attention. I never even got in trouble about it. It's pretty funny that my manager never even mentioned about it. If I didn't say anything to them, they would have never even knew about it. So I was getting written up for things I brought to their attention every time I had a meeting with them before I started this union, and for, in my opinion, petty things like being 9 minutes late one time, when, let's be honest, people are late once in a while. If it's not a pattern, that's all that matters. And there's so many people that have been late like once in a while, or even way more than me, because I don't remember the last time I've been late except that day that they put on there, and they don't get written up. And people have no call, no shows. They don't get written up. And they told me this is just documents. I just have to document everything, which it wasn't. It says corrective action on there. And I've never heard of something like that. So it was clear.
I want to play some of that harassment, which is really cringe. This was the most recent. Let's take a listen.
Is that something that you have done?
So wait, explain this one more time.
So I'm investigating concerns that have been raised about your conduct in the store.
Uh-huh.
Is that what you want me to explain, or the
Yes.
question that
Yes. Explain the question you asked.
The question I asked is, have you ever made a joke saying, you can't say that, that's racist, about something that you knew wasn't racist? Like, let me just throw an example. Like, somebody's says, oh, the sky is blue. And then have you made a joke like saying, you can't say that, that's racist?
I don't really understand. I think for here now, I think I want to talk to a lawyer because I don't really like where these questions are going to. I don't like it, and I kind of feel attacked.
Well, okay, that's fine, and I'm happy to.
I also don't understand the question about you asking, okay, Brandon, when someone leaves a sweater, because I don't have anyone in my store that's named Brandon.
Okay, that's fine. If you don't understand the question, like why I'm asking questions, that's fine.
I do know that okay, Brandon is a rude thing to say, and it's a slang word for F you. I do know that. So if someone's trying to play a game on me and set me up, that's not really funny. And it kind of really hurts because I really have been discriminated against from my manager and district manager. So I totally feel set up right now, and I totally feel, and I'm not saying this is you who's doing this. Obviously, you're the one asking me the questions. But okay, Brandon, there's no one in my store named Brandon, and I know okay, Brandon is a thing that means F you. So that's all I want to say for now on, and I don't want to really answer any more questions. I'm so sorry.
let me just explain a couple things. I'm perfectly fine. I understand that I'm sure I caught you by surprise and that you need some time to think. If you would like to consult with a lawyer, that's perfectly fine as well. I have no objection to that. I will follow up with you, though, and I'd like to have a chance to finish asking my questions.
Yes.
It's your choice. Obviously, I'm not going to force you to answer my questions.
Sorry to put you through that again, but
Okay.
what even precipitated that? An investigation into? I don't even know what they were talking about.
What's really funny though? What's really funny is that eventually, he kept trying to contact me. He wanted to talk, and I was going through other stuff. I wasn't really paying attention to his call, and I was gonna talk to him probably sometime, but he was like really on it, like almost every single day. And it's the day it's pretty funny because one of the days I got harassed, I basically was I'm pretty sure that was the day I got written up for having earpods in the past when I'm doing dishes and stuff that everyone else has done since the store started and never gotten written up for that. And basically, with all of that, it's they literally called me. They called my store, and I was in the back room crying on the phone with my co-leader, Bill Whitmire, and my supervisor, like the mid supervisor, because I'm the closing supervisor. She came in the back. She's like, "Hey, there's a phone call. It's for you." It was a store phone. And I answered it, and the person was like, "Hey, it's Scott, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, he really called my store? Like, that's crazy, you know? And eventually he said if you don't answer me by a certain time, if you don't tell me when we're gonna talk, I have to conclude this investigation, and I think you want to tell your side. So I found the time to talk to him. That conversation went on for a long time as well. And he told me that he would follow up with me on Monday. And we talked, I'm pretty sure, on like a Saturday or Friday. And it's been about 2.5, 3 weeks, and I never got a follow up. He said that that's when the investigation would be concluded. So clearly they didn't find anything, which is pretty funny. And on top of that, what's also really funny is a couple days after they called me the first time, I filed my own ethics and compliance case, even though I know it's going straight to Starbucks and I'm basically telling Starbucks and they're not going to do anything. I felt like, well, I should still at least try to do it. So I tried, and I have not gotten anything at all.
Wow.
They never contacted me back, man. I was gonna try and reach out, but I honestly got so busy because I'm getting harassed every day. I'm honestly not trying to call again. So.
And what reasons did they give you for firing you?
So their firing reasons, which just made no sense, so the Starbucks is basically trying to twist words right now, and they're also trying to enforce policies that were never enforced before. And basically, I guess I mean I can record whenever I want as long as I'm present and I know the law, and Arizona's a one party consent state. So they know I'm recording all the time, and I don't need to ask them for permission. And they know that when I walk in, my phone's always on me. My phone's always recorded 24/7. And it wasn't until this Saturday, when they pulled me aside with two district managers, not even my store manager, to tell me that, did you know it's Starbucks policy that you must ask for consent for a video or anything. And I was like, that's not true. And I'm videoing you right now. I'm like holding the phone. I'm like, I'm videoing you right now, and you're not even asking me to turn it off. And she ignored it. I have the video here too. And it's just like, they're enforcing policies that were never enforced before. And they also, the day that they fired me, they also gave me a written final warning on something totally different about COVID-19 procedures, because my cafe was closed since they don't like union stuff. Obviously, our stores, they literally rather have us overstacked and make less money and keep our cafe closed so that there's no union activity. So I let myself into the store to grab my headphones. I couldn't find them. And our store was like, it was open during that time. My manager was there. I said hi to her since I had to, obviously. And I picked up my coworker because we were going to go hang out. And when you walk into work, when you're in the back, when you're clocking in, you have to do a COVID check-in, and they basically take your temperature, and you have a COVID questions that people just say no, 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 basically. And then you have to just sign your name and get it verified by the supervisor. And if you're the supervisor, get it verified from someone else then. So, and if you're not working, then you would never do that. And most cafes are open. So like any other customer, if I walk in, I'm not going to be like never before. I'm not going to have to do the COVID coach because I'm not working at all. So they said that I violated COVID coach guidelines, or basically since I walked in on the store on my day off and didn't do the COVID coach, even though I wasn't scheduled. I've never been told that. And on top of that, what's even more funny is my co-leader, Bill Whitmire, he was the supervisor on the shift. So he told me, he's like, well, if they're going to try and pull this on you, then why didn't they bring me in, since I'm responsible of making sure you get it done. And he even had a meeting with the district manager and the manager saying, why is Leila getting talked to? Why not me? Like she did walk in, but I was in charge during the time. Why am I not getting in trouble? And he's like, it feels like it's not just because she's union, but she's also a woman of color. So it got to the point where they're like, if you have a problem, you can call ethics and compliance. That's all I said. So, and on top of that, that final written warning, it says that it was created on March 18th, but I didn't get it until April 4th. So they were planning on firing me from the start.
So sorry for what you're dealing with. Starbucks, obviously, I don't think they get that this rampant union busting and retaliation is actually driving more interest in other stores unionizing. So if that's what they're trying to do, they're shooting themselves in the foot. Anything else you want viewers to know as far as if they could help you or how to get in contact with you? What are your next steps?
Really, my next steps is, for me, I want to obviously have my store win, but I want to make sure I can help other Starbucks stores and eventually help the rest of the food industry and retail industry, because too many people get taken advantage of, and they just expect it since it's the food industry. And I'm ready to change that. I'm ready to people shouldn't be like, it's the food industry, what do you expect? You're going to get treated that way. No, we're all a human being, and we all deserve to have a say, to have a voice. And it doesn't matter. I always say this. It doesn't matter if you're a doctor, if you're a janitor. You guys are just the same, and they should be looked at as the same because they're the same person. So all I would say is just to spread awareness. I post a lot too. Starbucks United, they post a lot. If you can just retweet it. Not just my GoFundMe, but there's GoFundMes for other stores. And I mean, it's not just me who's getting hurt. Like, my fire definitely shocked people, since I'm the most public person in this entire movement who's gotten all of this attention, just because I have video proof. I have proof, and it's not Starbucks' word. There's proof. So while I did get fired, there's so many others that need help. Like, on the Washington Post, it wasn't the first person that got terminated was one of my co-leaders, and Alyssa Sanchez. So she, this whole time, has been struggling. She has health issues. She's been at Starbucks for years and purposely was at Starbucks just so she knew that, okay, like, if I have to leave for a hospital because she has medical issues, I always have a job back, because Starbucks is good at that. And they took her job away just because she needed another job and needed to also focus on her health, and her hours didn't fit the company's needs. So not just her, but obviously reinstate Alyssa, and then the Memphis 7, people in Buffalo. So while mine, I definitely think my fire surprised people, there's so many others that we need to focus on as well.
Absolutely.
it.
Thank you, Leila Dalton. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you. I appreciate you reaching out.
Thanks for watching, and make sure to tune in to Status Coup's daily live stream Monday through Thursday at 5 o'clock Eastern Time and Fridays at 4 o'clock Eastern Time.